right, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is for those who are tuning in on PAC 14, this is the Redistricting Commission. And also for those who are tuning in on PAC 14, we now have on our county website, wicomicocounty.org, under County Council. Our minutes are being posted, and the maps that we have under consideration are also posted on that website, so you can find that information there. We need to approve the minutes from our September 22nd meeting, but before we do that, we do have a slight amendment to it, just for clarification and a slight correction. Anybody who has them in front of you, if you printed them out, it's on page 1. It is under discuss 2% deviation from ideal population. It is the second paragraph under that. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth line down. And it basically says that, so they moved it from District 1 into District 2. That should actually be, the move was District 1 to District 4. And for clarification, it was a section in the city of Salisbury Park, where there is 0 population. So we're going to add those amendments into it in parentheses. So therefore, unless anybody else has any other additions, corrections to the minutes?
Move approval.
Okay, so seeing none, we need a motion to approve as amended. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Great, thank you, everybody. I think that's it. Oh, and one other thing before Mr. McKenzie gets started. I know there's been some discussions about what our charge is on this commission, and just so everybody knows and the public knows, the Charter Review Committee is currently meeting. In fact, they have their next meeting this Thursday at, is it 5 p.m.? 5 p.m. In room 301, which is council chambers. And they have had some input on their portal of questions and comments regarding redistricting and legislative districts. Now, the charter review is, any changes to that has to be approved by the public. It would be on the election in November, any changes. So I don't know where they are in their discussions, but if anybody wants to give them input, they do allow public input at their meetings, or you can email in a comment or a proposal. Just so you know, that option is there for anybody who wants to see about possibly making changes in our charter concerning the redistricting committee. And that's, the public is able to do that too. Okay, so let's go. We did the minutes. I've made all my speech for the moment. Mr. McKenzie, let's turn it over to you, please.
Well, welcome, everyone. First off, the handout I provided before the meeting, there was discussion at a previous meeting about trying to have all the districts meet at 2% deviation. Since that was important to you, I gave you that percent deviation for all of the districts still under consideration. So what this does, you see highlighted in yellow on each of the 4 sheets, you know, the deviation, the average deviation of that particular plan. And as we all know, we're allowed to be 5% above or 5% below our target, our ideal population. So all these fall within our 5%.
So Frank, how did you do that to come to the mean deviation? You added up?
The software calculates it for you as you go through. So it will compare all 5 districts and see, you know, how much above or below, you know, that particular district is, and then average the 5 districts.
Okay.
And it calculates it for you.
So it's done on the computer?
Yes.
Okay. See.
So if there's no questions on that, I'll go ahead and proceed with the discussion of some of the maps.
Any questions?
First question on page 1, which is the minimal impact one. I see in 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth column, adjusted, non-adjusted, adjusted non-Hispanic white percentage, but I don't see a percentage for African Americans. I see a number, but looking at it, it's, and I may be messing up the math, 27.94% non-adjusted, non-Hispanic white. That would imply that the percentage of black would be about 72%. Is that correct?
Well, there are other races that are calculated, so it may not be. The sheet that went out through the email contains the additional percentage black population of, I guess, this particular report that was cut off. But there are different races that are included in the census calculation. However, for our purposes, we are looking at, percentage black, and the percentage white is provided as a reference. The other races that are calculated, are a lot smaller percentage.
Okay, so since I didn't bring this, or it's somewhere in here, Ms. Barkovich hands me the table that actually says that for,
I can-
oh, minimal impact. I'm sorry, it says 57.67.
I can show you on here, on the screen.
Not without my telescopes, which are probably going to fog up. Okay?
So the fields that are provided for this, non-Hispanic white, non-Hispanic black percentage. So that's the one we're looking for. Now, there are other racial categories that are analyzed by the Census Bureau, but they're not included in this report. They're not part of our charge to analyze. Now, if it's important to you all, then I can, for the next go-round, I can provide, those categories. There would probably be 6 to 10 more racial categories
Okay.
that are analyzed.
And they would all be either they would be either
They could be
black
Hispanic.
or,
Yeah.
or mixed Hispanic, black, or something like that. I am getting concerned, as I mentioned last month, about packing the minority district. And obviously, we don't want the minority district to be down and can't let it be less than 50%. On the other hand, the more black we make it, the less impact our African American citizens will get in the election. And there are big arguments going on in various places around the country, including Baltimore County, about this very thing.
In previous processes we've gone through, it's always been to try to get the black population as high as possible. So if there's new considerations that people are concerned about, that's something for you all to discuss how we approach that.
Okay.
Well, you don't want the minority district to look like 37A, is that what it is? The minority district for the delegate district, where it goes here, follows a road down here. There's no true
No, we don't
community of
want that,
interest.
and
Yeah.
I think the San Domingo exception is pretty clear, the way we felt about that. But I did find an article about Baltimore County, which has 7 districts, no at large, and they have one minority district that has, it's 80% or so African American, and none of the other districts have any chance, basically, of electing an African American. So and that looks like it will go to court. I'm putting that out there as a matter for consideration. I don't know what to do about it. Okay, sorry about taking your time, Frank.
That's okay. At the last meeting, there was discussion about another consideration for a request to move some areas to increase population in the metro area around Salisbury and Fruitland. So it was requested that we consider looking at, let me see if I got it here. There were two precincts that have been discussed in Fruitland. One is 16004 and 16005. These are both in Fruitland. The request was, can we put part of 16, or all of 16004 in District 2 and 16005 would be in District 4. So this is 16006 here. This was already in the old map. This was in District 4 already.
Yes, Canal Woods.
So that's the Canal Park Village of Tiny Tank. So what that did, this map shows the amount of people that were involved in moving those two precincts. The area you see here in gray has been proposed to move to District 2. There were 1,512 people, 1,512 people. This area in yellow you see is proposed to go into 4, which was precinct 16005, I believe, was 2,658 people. So that was about 4,170 people in those two blocks that were moved, those two precincts. So that meant we had to go around to the other precincts, the other districts, and to compensate for that large movement. So when we started moving that 4,100 people, it almost doubled, or it did double in order to compensate for that. So here you can see there's an area, this is Salisbury here. Corporate limits are this black line here. So try to keep, most of the city intact. There's areas in here outside the city that were moved from District 4 to District 3. There was 1,683 people there. We had talked about, this area over near the park and our minimal impact. There was 49 people over here. Well, we, in order to balance this out, didn't need to move that anymore. So this did not move. But there were, that block with 49 people didn't move. But we still balanced it out to kind of even out the map in this area, but there were 0 people moved. I'll zoom out some, and I'll really start up in the area up near Sharptown. Our original discussion, we talked about the request. There was an area up going towards San Domingo where this area, you see my hand down here, was too narrow. So the request was, can we widen this up, to make this a little wider, and this makes the map a little cleaner. But in order to compensate for the numbers we needed, we also had to adjust up here near Sharptown. So here there were 40 people moved in this area. There were 332 people that were moved in this area down here. There was also a request to move the people in Hebron out of District 1 and put them in District 2. So that moved 1,154 people.
So here's my question. So this is every request. This isn't all in one.
This was the 3 requests.
The 3 requests all in one map.
All in
I
one,
got you, yeah.
and then to compensate for everything else
Right.
that happened because of the last request of the 2 precincts.
Right. Okay.
And so what was the net result of the totals now in each of the districts, Frank?
Okay. So, moving these numbers, we're able to meet, our deviation. That was my goal. Once we move that, is, okay, we got to balance these districts out. How do we do that? So that's where we had to start moving people from one area to another to balance these districts for our deviation. So as you can see in the percent deviation on the map, everything falls within our 5%, and it actually looks pretty close here for an average.
And it looks like you also, where you have the ideal district population of 20,845, all the districts on that one are over 20,000 per district.
Over here, this is Glen Avenue. Here's the city park right in this area. We are right here right now. So this was moved from District 3 to District 4.
And that's the part we've already voted on
This is
to
all-
accept.
Well, part of this was. This area right down here was what we need to do for the minimal impact.
Okay,
And
so
then there was an area that was moved right up in here because there was that sliver of district. Hold on here.
One,
Right, right.
one.
There was that sliver right in here, District 1. So that was that area, but this is picking up an additional area up in here
Okay.
where there's North Park
In
Gardens.
this map, this building would be in 4.
Yes. So over here, this is Mount Hermon Road, 69 people in this area. We're moved, we're still in 2%. 149 people out in this area. This is Kilburny right here. This is a council member's address. Any of these scenarios we've looked at, there haven't been any council members moved from one district to another that they currently serve, or Board of Education members.
And the Kilburny area, that's the pink where it says 149, correct?
Kilburny is right here. It says Pond Hill.
I can't see the cursor unless it's on something dark, so.
Okay, here.
Well, what is that big thing that looks,
That's
that
Kilburny
dips
right here.
down there where it says, where the numeral 149 was? Is that changing?
Go back to it.
Or what's changing? Bond Hill Road and stuff, that's in Kilburny.
That's in Kilburny. So there were 149 people in this area. And I can show you on this, let's go back to this map. I'm going to change this redistricting plan to the 2%. And I hope I can show aerial photography here.
That was in District 5 before, where the 149 is,
Yes.
I believe. So now it's showing in District 3.
So
Yeah,
that would
this is
move from
District-
5 to 3, and another area would move from 3 to 4 in Fruitland? Or am I totally confused?
This map here is my working map, where I do
Okay.
my calculations. The other map is the one that's where I keep the calculations for how many people are in a particular area. I was trying to show what was going on in this area with 149 people. So let me see if I can turn some of these things off to make it clearer. It's hard to say that there's a lot of people clustered in the area. It's a large area. But these homes
Well, part of it has runways in it. I don't think too many people live there.
Well, that's in a different district, but, let's see here. Oh, thank you. So it's hard to see with the light in here, with the photography, but I was trying to help out with where all those 149 people came from, but it's really hard to determine. So there's 25 people here, 31 there, 14, 46, 3, and 26 here.
And what road is that running through at Mount Hermon?
Okay, this is Mount Hermon, this is Route 350 right here, Mount Hermon Road.
Okay. And so the area within the blue would be moving from,
Yeah, this area here would be moving from 5 to 3.
to 3, okay, got it. And correspondingly, where would 3 be losing citizens? Is that in Fruitland on this one, or closer to Salisbury,
Okay, here we go.
or this building, or whatever?
So, and here we're still in the 2% map. So there were a small change up in here where there were some people moved from District 3 to District 2.
Can I start? I just don't understand why we're like robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's what I feel like is happening. Like, I feel like we're taking, so you just took people from 3 and then gave them to 2, but then took from 5 to give to 3. So why are,
It's a,
like,
as I discussed kind of earlier, it's kind of like a whack-a-mole. Once you hit something, when you hit a certain block, and you try to keep the map neat,
right?
then you might grab more people than you want to in that area. So you have to compensate for that somewhere else.
Right, so if like 3 needed more people, then why don't we just give it back from 2? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, instead of pulling from somewhere else, like, you know, I guess I'm having a hard time understanding, like, we're pulling from both ends of Fruitland, you know, taking some and giving some. And it just doesn't make, I don't know, like,
Well,
I don't know why we're doing that. Like, here 2, you get some of 3, but now we need more in 3, so we're gonna pull from 5 as opposed to just giving it back from 2.
as the numbers,
It's like a pinwheel, you know what I mean? It's
It
like we're
is, it
shifting
is.
around like this, so it's,
and as you do this, I'll show you what happens when I move these people here from District 2 back to District 3, for instance.
and then give 5 back. The ones, you know what I mean? I mean, I'm just wondering.
Well, it's hard to explain without showing you how the numbers
Okay,
work. Okay, so now the target is District 3. I'm going to move these people out of District 2. So that was 181 people there,
okay.
and the deviation was okay, still within deviation. So, let's see here. And you say you want to go back to,
Well, no, I mean, I was just wondering why we were doing both things. Like, I just didn't understand why we were giving some of District 3 to 2, but then having to take from 5 to give to 3. Like, why give any of District, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, so
Yeah.
now adding this back.
as the one who's operating this, sometimes if I work in one part of the county, you know, it makes an impact over here that I didn't calculate on the other side of the
Got
county.
you, okay.
And so then I've got to say, okay, I've got to go this.
So you're looking at it more like segregated, and then I'm kind of coming in and looking at it like as a holistic thing, but you were kind of doing it piece by piece.
Well, I do it piece by piece. You know, these little numbers over here you see in the deviation, when they start getting too high or too low,
You've got to do your adjustment.
then I have to do adjustment somewhere else.
Gotcha, okay.
So I'm going to undo that. I mean, there are, myriad of ways, we can do this. So if you decide you don't want, if you want to try something different over in the Fruitland area, and, I could move things around again there. I'm here at, working for you all.
Right. That's all, I was just trying to understand the two changes.
Well, I don't know if I explained myself very well, but
It was fine, no, it was fine. It was fine.
so here I'm back to the PDF map, which shows the number of people moved in these areas. So everything, there's an area up in here where 45 people moved. This is Route 13. This is West Design Road. This area up here all stayed the same. So those are the basic changes in the 2% map.
And once again, how many people would be moved to achieve that?
I have 1,280.
See, some of these, when I was trying to maintain 2%, and when numbers start jumping up, you get above your deviation, and your target deviation is the 2%, that's when you start, okay, I've got to move somewhere else over here.
Right.
Any more, is there any further discussion or questions on the 2%, or should we?
Any other questions? Any motions? Okay, let's see, what else did we have, Frank?
There was the first request for there was the Hebron area and that area up.
Okay, and that moves 1,586 people.
Yes. That was the first request from the community.
And that moves a lot of people from District 1 to District 2, correct? That's the one?
Yes. It's the one that unites
Yes.
Hebron.
1,200 people.
Well, it almost unites Hebron. It's still not really. It should be that whole corner up through 50 to that other line, but
This
don't
is
think
the
it's
corporate limits of Hebron right here.
yeah. I think it was it wasn't very many people, I felt like. Was it like 12 or something? I can't remember what the actual number
Up in
was. It
here.
wasn't
Yeah,
anything.
more many, but
Yeah.
But the number is 1264.
yes, in that area.
That was the one that raised the minority district from 57 to 59,
Right.
and then got District 2 closer to what we needed, I think, from what I remember.
As I recall, though, the premise of this was uniting communities in single districts, correct?
Madam Chairman, could we ask my friend, Mr. Danderson, either get closer to the
Oh.
microphone or the tech guys to up his game?
Okay, sorry. So the premise of this was to unite Hebron, was that correct?
Correct.
Can we talk a little bit about the desirability of putting communities in a single district? Do we all agree that that is important?
Well, it was just one of the things that they had talked about, not dividing up towns if it was possible. And one way was fixing one of the towns that was divided.
Right. And Gail, you, as I recall in the first meeting, you talked about the 2010 and how that committee had work to unite the communities on the eastern side of the county, is that correct? What was their thinking when they did that?
I don't know the answer to that, but we have, for instance, Powellville, which is clearly, sits out there by itself. They have Willards, and I think Willards looks like it might be split now because part of Willards crosses 50, doesn't it, Frank, I think?
There's a small area of Willards
Yep.
that's on the south side of
Yep.
50.
Okay.
And of course, Pittsville is, let's see, they're all on the north side of 50. I remember Parsonsburg is all on the north side of 50. Those are the only ones in 3. Fruitland's, of course, part of Fruitland's in 3.
And then Delmar, I think you were talking about Delmar and how Delmar had been all put in 5, as I recall the discussion.
I think
Delmar
it was
was
under the
previously
same
in 5.
precedent, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And Mardella Springs is in 2. So that,
Sharptown's in 2.
right. So that just leaves Hebron and Fruitland, is that correct? And of course, Salisbury, the law doesn't allow us to unite Salisbury because we'd violate the district population limit.
Well, I think we had the same issue with Fruitland too, wasn't it? When we tried to put all of Fruitland together, it was just
It's
too
gotten-
much.
It's gotten too big.
Yeah, because Fruitland
but-
is a city and the other ones are
But,
towns.
well, no, that's not true, because the population of Fruitland is 5,534, so its population is certainly small enough that it can be included in a single district. The concern I have with this map is that I don't disagree that uniting towns is a good idea, but the concern I have with this map is that if we do this, we will have united all the towns the law allows us to do, with the exception of Fruitland. And if you look at the populations and the demographic makeup, Ardala Springs is 357 people, 91% white. Willards is 963 people, 84% white. Pittsville is 1,636 people, 94% white. Delmar is 3,798 people, 57% white. Hebron is 1,113, 92% white. And Fruitland is 500,534 people and only 52% white. And when you look at this map, the African-American precincts of Fruitland are in 2, and the white precincts, the white precincts are in 2, and the African-American precincts are in 3. So Fruitland is divided along racial grounds. And if we think, and our job here is to execute the redistricting law, which states only that the population of the district be around 20,800 with a deviation of 5%. We have one district that's African-American, and that the districts be contiguous. So I have this question for Mr. Illuminati again.
Well, that was a statement. Question.
Well, here's the question, and how you answer this will color my second question. Can the proceedings of this meeting be entered as evidence in a court of law?
That's too open-ended of a question to
Okay.
provide an answer.
All right, okay, fair enough. And I'll ask this question, I'll try to be circumspect. Given these facts, given that if we adopt this map and we combine all the white communities into districts and leave out the one city that is 50-50, could a reasonable person have a concern that if this map were adapted, a possible federal question could arise?
Well, that's too broad of a question, because the division of Fruitland is not something that's been addressed at this point. The premise that Fruitland was divided along, your conclusion was that Fruitland was divided along racial lines. That's not what the last iteration of this committee did. Fruitland is divided by, as Mr. McKenzie said, along geographic boundaries, and that's always been what it's been geographic boundaries, the map, and geographic boundaries have broad definitions. It can be natural geographic boundaries, it can be roadway boundaries, and so looking at, though it's not zoomed in, the boundary appears, and using 13, but it's one major street over from 13, and I'm not
Camden
familiar
Avenue?
enough.
Camden Avenue.
Camden Avenue
Right.
is the broad divider here. So this, to date, this committee has not taken any steps that shows that it's attempting to do that. Whether or not somebody would want to file suit is a completely different question, but this committee has not taken any steps to divide along racial lines, based on my attendance over the past 3 meetings.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Just, my concern was that a federal question could arise if we unite white Hebron and leave the mixed-race Fruitland separated.
I don't believe anybody has espoused the belief that the goal to unite Hebron is to put one ethnicity in an advantage over another. From my recollection, the principle behind the uniting of Hebron was an attempt to unite a community, and that race was not a factor in that.
Okay, but we still, all right, so that's true. So the goal is to unite a community, but we're not uniting Fruitland. And the 14th Amendment, Section 1, states that the law must be applied so that everyone has equal protection under
That's
the law.
not, yes, and the 14th Amendment has been extrapolated out into so many different arenas that it would be impossible to cover in the limited time here. Based on what action has been taken to date, there has not been any attempt to advantage one race over another, and another motion could be made to show the difference between an attempt to unite Fruitland versus an attempt to unite Hebron, and what additional maps could be done. That could be asked of Mr. McKenzie. A motion could be put on the floor if that was something that was desired. So just the absence of that motion does not mean that there's a certain advantage, but the making of that motion, the rejection of that motion is also not a preclusion and belief that there is another submissive goal at hand.
Okay, well, then I'll make that motion. I have a motion, Madam Chair. I move that we suspend further discussion of this map until such, on the grounds that this map could present an undue legal risk to the county for violations, possible violations of the 14th Amendment.
Just
I
for
don't
point of
agree with that
clarification,
at
that's
all.
not what I've said.
Okay, all right then. I move that we suspend discussion on this map.
And I would really like you not to
Stop
say to-
talking. I'm
I'm
talking.
sorry.
You're
Excuse me.
talking over
Hold on a
me.
second.
Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen,
Also, if
excuse
you could
me.
also make the motion to not say when we unite white Hebron, because nobody has ever said that. The adjective was never
Ladies
used.
and gentlemen, excuse me.
Don't talk over me,
I-
I'm sorry.
Please don't talk to
Excuse
me
me.
like that.
Okay, one person will have the floor at
Go
a
ahead.
time. I do not want anybody
Sure, absolutely, Mark, go
yelling,
ahead.
screaming, or
Absolutely.
Fair
Mark, go
enough,
ahead.
fair enough. I
if
apologize.
you want to be angry at each other,
Go ahead.
go outside, discuss it
I
outside,
apologize.
then come back.
Absolutely.
All right.
But
all right.
not while I'm sitting here at this table.
All right.
And not on
Fair
TV.
enough, thank you. I apologize.
When you have a disagreement, you take it outside.
I apologize.
Settle it, then come back.
Thank you.
Sure.
Okay. Well, then I move that we suspend discussion of this map until it can be redrawn where both Hebron and Fruitland are in a single district. They could be two different districts, but you understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
It can be done. I think that,
But we would need a second to continue with this.
I'll second the motion for purpose of discussion. What are we going to ask staff to find out? What additional information are you asking for, Mr. Danderson?
I'm asking that we draw another map where Hebron is united in a single district, and Fruitland is also united in a single district. And thereby, all of the cities and towns that can be under the law united in a single district will be. And the only town, city that won't be is Salisbury because of its size. The law does not allow us to unite Salisbury.
Is this on two separate maps, like one with Hebron and then a separate map, one with just Fruitland?
Well, no, our objective is to, where the law allows us to put towns together in a single district. So, yeah, I'd like to see a map where every single town, save Salisbury,
He
is.
almost did it on the 922 map. I think there was
Fruitland,
still-
Fruitland is divided, though, in that
Yeah, it
922
is.
map.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it is,
Yeah.
it is.
Now that
Because I don't disagree with the principle that towns united, that makes sense. There's a logic in that. You're in a community, you're all in the same district. So if that principle is true, then let's put all the towns we can, that the law allows us to do, into single districts.
Does Fruitland go all the way to 13? Like past
This is,
13?
okay, this is Route 13 right
Right,
here.
yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. I was looking at, I guess
This
that's
is
the
the
bypass,
bypass,
yeah.
yeah.
So does it go all the way to the bypass or just right where that?
I think the
See,
dotted line, is that the
This
Fruitland
black
city
line here,
limits?
Yeah.
dashed, that's a Fruitland
Yeah.
corporate
That's the
limits.
Fruitland, okay.
Yeah, and then it,
So there's a
just that dotted
considerable
line all the
number
way around.
of residents on the west side of 13.
Yes, that's the Fruitland
Yeah.
line over here.
And the only place to make changes then, if you put all of those in one district, they'd have to go into either, what, District 2 or District 3?
Yeah.
Which means you put them in 3, that's going to put that
Way over.
over considerably.
Can I interject here? If-
Yes, go ahead,
If
please.
we add all of Fruitland, let's say into District 3, then District 2 is going to be considerably reduced in size.
What,
So then we have to find people to balance that out, come around underneath this area here probably to pick that up.
what if you did it in reverse, Frank? What if you put all of Hebron in 1 and put all of Fruitland in 2?
Well, we can experiment with that right now. I hope I don't break it.
No,
Okay,
we
so-
don't want to have to start all over again, Frank, please don't break it.
Okay, so we're going to take Hebron and put that in, back in District 2.
You would put it back in District 1.
1.
Excuse me.
So I guess it's that 2 little spots there above it.
Or didn't you say put all of Hebron in one?
Yeah, all of Hebron.
All of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at, we're working on the 2% map. Let's see here. Right now, almost all of Hebron is in District 1 in this map. So I'll take this area here, add that to District 1.
So that's not going to be a huge difference.
So what was that, 6 people?
6 people.
Yeah, it's not going to make a big difference.
Okay,
So
so.
say that again, Dan, what you just did, when you said it's only 6 people.
There are 6 people in this red block
Mhm.
that were moved from District 2 back to District, or into District 1.
So they weren't there originally, right? You're moving them now?
Yes. So this dark line here,
Mhm.
that's the existing councilmanic district lines from the previous election. So, but this black line you see here is an annexation that occurred in the town of Hebron, where right now it's basically sod area. So there's not many people living there, but it is in the corporate limits. It's a sod farm. But the request was to make all of Hebron united, so I'm going to put that in there. So that didn't have much population difference. Now when we get down here to Fruitland, so first let's try adding this area in gray from District 2 to District 3.
But what, taking Fruitland to District 3 now?
Take all of Fruitland and put it in District 3. And then
Okay.
we'll try again and put it all in District 2 and see what happens. So my target district is 3, it's pink. It turns red when it's been selected. So that moved from District 2, it moved 1,366 people into District 3. Now, the deviation of District 2 is it's 9.5% below deviation. In District 3, it's 7.9% above. So now you got to start hunting. Okay, how do we compensate for that area we just moved?
Oh, I think Ms. Giordano can find some people. Just 1,000 people in Hebron.
So that was,
I
here's some
know
more.
this whole uniting thing, I know, I'm trying to follow the rules and regulations, it's tough.
Okay. I think the rest of us are also.
So then, yeah, I mean, and then go ahead and try, yeah, Fruitland and
But I
then,
believe the motion that's on the table asks for exactly that sort of thing that Mr. McKenzie is hypothesizing, keeping Hebron all together and
And Fruitland altogether.
So
That was a request.
that is the map that I think this motion is asking for.
Well, that's what I think he's doing right now.
yeah, he just did it, but he
Yeah.
put it in 3, so the numbers don't really work, so we would have to pull from somewhere else.
To
So
balance it
now
out.
what happens if you put Fruitland in 2?
Okay, so now if I move Fruitland into 2, so I'm going to undo everything I just did. And let me make District 2 the target. So here is Fruitland area here.
There's a lot of little things in there, isn't there?
Yeah. So it looks like I got most of it. So that moved 4,000 people. Now the percent deviation from District 2 is, they are at 16.17%. District 3 is 17.81% below. So that's where you start your hunting again, to balance these districts out.
So if we do this, it's going to move a lot more people than the 8,379 people.
As you can see here, it's hard to see that table. District 1 is 0.9%, 91% deviation. District 2, 16.17% deviation. District 3, 17.81% below target. District 4 wasn't touched, 2.17% deviation below, and District 5 is 2.91 above. So, and looking at this, when I've thought of this before, you know, we don't want to start adjusting District 1. And District 2 touches District 1, District 4 right here, and District 3. So District 3 is already below. We need to go into District 2 and maybe come around this area and start adding people into District 3, but staying out of the town of Fruitland. So I'm still, now let's go to District 3. Okay, so that helps some, but not much. Now I'm going along the river. We're still about 17.81% below in District 3, so I need to find more people. So now I'm going all the way up to Bordello Winery. So here we are getting closer. So the deviation for District 3 is -8%. For District 2 is 6.5% above. So we still need to reduce District 2. But you can see how this is starting to look. This is wrapping all the way around underneath Hebron.
Fruitland.
Yeah, excuse me, Fruitland. It's now going to Allen. Okay, District 2 is now 5.73, and we've pretty much captured everything south of the Wicomico River, going out to the Wicomico Creek, and added that to District 3. So it goes all the way, it's hard to see over here.
So it would go all the way from the county line at 50, all the way to the Wicomico River.
All the way down there.
Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
No, I was saying, so like in this map, District 3 would go all the way from the county line on 50 east, all the way to the Wicomico River,
All the way to the,
all the way to the,
Chris? I can use this. Point.
So it's button on the side, if you click it down, you'll see on, off, and then.
Button on the side? Oh, okay.
Yes, and then there's a little red line, dead center.
I mean,
Okay.
not much different than saying District 2 is going from Sharptown all the way down to Allen.
well, yeah, I don't even think it should do that, but there's just not enough people.
It's green for, that's on. There we go.
So real quick, so the numbers up at the top right now, the District 1, 2, 3, like over on the left? Yep, right here. So those are the numbers based on what you just did, correct? Like they update as
no.
you do this?
Once I hit execute, then they will jump.
Okay, so the ones that
The
are on
ones over here are the
are
ones
the
that are in
accurate
play.
ones? Okay, got you.
So the ones in play, right now, are District 3 is 7% below, and District 2 is 5% above. But we're going to have to jump the river if we want to add more people from District 2 to District 3.
You can keep going, I
That's
just
much
don't.
better.
It's like you put new ink in the printer.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you can keep going, I just can't see any of the county council members being, like, approving this. I mean, we can keep going and, and go all the way down and whatever, but,
What council member did that pick up?
Well, that picked up somebody here. Let's see here.
That's Larry Dodds, I think.
No, it's
that's
at
Mc-
large.
That's Bill McCain.
Bill
Yeah, it's
McCain
at
along the
large.
river.
Oh, you don't, yeah.
A comment?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
So
Regarding the point that District 3 would run all the way from Route 50 and come around southwest to the river, I think the river is the most defining geographical point of the county. Almost all the other borders are straight lines or crooked lines at least, except when we get to the Wicomico River in the east. And I would think that having no district lines cross the river except in the area up north where there are actually bridges would make a lot of sense.
Sorry, say that again, Cal?
The only way to cross the river south of Mill Street or Carroll Street is to take the upper ferry.
Right.
And it's much more convenient, I would think, to traverse a district by taking roads. And I can't speak for Mr. McCain, but I am not sure that he would be upset with the change. Might be.
He used to live in District 3.
Huh?
Bill McCain used to live in District 3,
I used to live in District 4.
so.
now, if
But
we
we're
wanted-
still, there's still a huge deviation though here, Frank, right?
if we wanted to, so we're trying to build up District 3. But District 2 is just a little bit over. But I could grab some people possibly out of District 5, put those in District 3. But this starts the whack-a-mole.
Try not to make it Larry's house, okay? Or rather, Joe's.
So I'll go ahead and I'll execute these, and that will
Up around the
update the
mall, you
numbers.
could grab an apartment complex or two. Runaway Bay, Mobile
So now those
Village.
numbers on the left are updated?
Now the number of the left are updated.
Okay. So you're very concerned about African-American population and being represented. So what that just did was dilute both the African-American populations in 3, because 3 had about 22%, and now it's down to 15, and now 2's at 16. So you basically diluted their vote. Because of white Hebron.
But we could fix that by putting all of Hebron into one.
It's already in
It
one
is
right
one.
now.
It is in one.
It is.
It
Oh,
is,
and
we
that's
did that.
the surrounding Hebron.
But it was originally in one.
The town was, yeah.
Yeah. We didn't
Except
have
for 6 people.
the change in
Except
Hebron
for
didn't
6,
make any
yeah,
difference.
except for the 6
Yeah.
people, right.
It only made a minor difference.
Right,
Right.
right, because, there is a black population in Hebron that lives where you were on that cutoff, I believe.
Okay, so District 2 is too big. This area right here could move from District 2 to District 1. $102 people. That got District 2 down to 4.6 people, 4.6%.
And where's District 1 now?
Hold on here. So District 1. This blue line was the old line. So it's following pretty much the old line here. We're going back to where we were. District, the one now, District 3 still needs more people. It's, yeah, it's
What was it at?
6.7 under. So we need some more people in District 3. So there's, let's see here. You know, if you say you don't want to touch anybody in Fruitland, you know, you could balance some things here. There's about 57 people in this area could be moved into District 3 from District 2.
There's one in a little corner there, just above over to the left, right at the edge of down, right there.
Yeah,
I can't see the numbers, so.
25 people, that's a good eye. And that
Good
wants to
eye.
go into District 3. Okay, so District 3 is still 1,300 people short of deviation. It's 6.61%, so we still need to get some more people into District 3. Let's see if we missed anybody in here. No, that's all zeros. I didn't expect to be doing this on the fly, but here we go. So we don't really want to mess with District 1. There's some up here in District 5 that can be moved to District 3. 5 is a little above, so let's go back to 3. Now, this is this big block here. This is Islet Farms. That's a big chunk in the city of Salisbury. Let's go ahead and,
That actually would fit in with some of that area.
Couldn't hear that, Mr. Bono.
No, so I think that kind of reflects District 3, that area, Islet Farms.
so that would work. So here, all the deviations are within boundaries. District 1 is 1.4%, still maintains a 57.82% black. District 2 is 4.48% deviation. District 3 is a negative 4.4. District 4 is negative 2.17. And District 5 is 0.71%.
Can you zoom out so we can take a look at the whole map, please?
And Mr. McKenzie, does this current alignment reflect the parameters of the motion that is on the floor now?
I believe it does. The question was to have all of Hebron in one
Fruitland.
district and all of Fruitland in one district.
Yeah.
That was the request.
Madam Chair, I would ask that we put this motion on the table until such time as Mr. McKenzie has had the time to make sure his data is correct.
I can prepare, another map that would tell you how many people were moved from, one district to another, although it's going to be some high numbers. But that's appears to be not as much concern for this one.
Just want data and lines and a map that satisfy the requirements of the motion, and we can vote on it when we're sure.
Well, you'd want to probably table it to, we have a meeting, next week scheduled?
Next week.
We do have reserved October 27th as a meeting date.
Because
If
remember, our
everyone's
deadline is
available.
before Thanksgiving.
Was that
So we-
here or is that at?
That would be in the government office building.
Right. So we tentatively have we have the 27th, and then we have November 10th, and that's when we were going to end this, so we could be done in time for December
That'd be great.
deadline.
Vote on the motion to table.
So, well, I'm just, do you want to specify that we table it to the next meeting, or just table it in
To the
whichever
next
which
meeting,
way?
thank you.
Till the next meeting? So you want to table the motion
Till the next
to the
meeting.
next meeting, which would be October 27th. We can do that, right? We can do that legally?
Yes, needs
Table
a
to-
second.
Right, okay, then we need a second.
I'll second it.
Seconded.
Somebody did.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is anybody opposed? Okay, so we will have one more map next time. We currently will, that will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maps. That'll be our 5th map. Do you want to eliminate or make any motions on any other maps at the moment, or you want to wait till the next meeting and look at that map again?
Which ones have we not discussed tonight?
Well, we've discussed pretty much everything. We just haven't, the only motion that we have made, we've made motions on, we removed a balance map from consideration. That was done, that was 3,369 people. We have the minimal impact map, which we basically had already voted on, which includes, my understanding, everything that is still on this map, Frank.
Excuse me?
So we have those included in this map that's,
Okay.
that he was doing tonight. Then we had a request map. We had a second request map. We have a 2% map still?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
And then we
I
have
just
this
destroyed the 2% map.
next request map. So I'd like by the next meeting to start eliminating some of these and start coming to a conclusion and an end.
Will you also make this one available online?
The one that you discussed today or the one that he just presented?
The one that we just did?
I think he's got to run his numbers.
Yeah,
out
after that,
Yes.
after that.
So I'll go
If
through.
we could have it online before the meeting, that would be great.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Do you want it online before the meeting?
It's,
If possible.
it's in a week.
And if we're working you too hard, just say, can't do that.
I can make it work.
It's 1 week. It would be next Wednesday, I believe, is the 27th.
And our minutes would have to be.
Yeah, you've only got till
typed in 1
Wednesday
week.
at the most anyway.
So do you think that's going to work for you to all get this done?
Yeah, we can get the minutes done. yeah.
Okay. And Frank, you can get the maps done?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, do we have, let's see, we have a motion tabled. Is there any other discussion on anything else this evening?
No, but I would like to ask Mr. Illuminati one question, since we have at least a few minutes. The concern came up that this body might be sued over decisions we make. I can't envision that happening. I can envision us making decisions, the county council ratifying them, and they be sued.
That
Okay,
was the
thank you.
concern
And
anyway.
then they can talk to legit.
They can do what they're
our
going to do. what
insurance
they're gonna
That's the
do.
insurance
case you
company,
guys don't
that's
know.
who they would talk to.
Still.
Madam Chair, just to clarify, Mr. Danderson's motion was that Mr. McKenzie create a map that unites all possible municipalities but for Salisbury because of the impossibility. That action's been taken. I guess I don't, though there's been a vote on the motion to table, realistically, the motion is asking Mr. McKenzie to do the work he's already done, and like with each of the other requests, it would then be presented the next time. It wasn't a motion to disqualify the entire concept, and so I don't necessarily believe that the table's necessary, though nothing procedurally is really makes Mr. Danderson's motion moot at the end of the day anyway, because
Like-
Mr. McKenzie's.
Well, if we adjourned without tabling it, I'm not sure what that would be.
Well, I guess you could vote on
We
it.
did vote on the table,
You voted on the table, but you could also just vote on Mr. Danderson's motion.
and I'm trying to be fair to staff. I think there's a chance that, you know, unlike the rest of us, Mr. McKenzie might want to go over his work and make sure everything is what he wants it to
Yeah,
look like.
there's a series of checks and balances that, you know, I would go through to make sure that I didn't miss any blocks anywhere.
I agree, but I don't believe like, even with the September 22nd request, my recollection was there was adjustments made, but ultimately whatever Mr. McKenzie presented in the emails and was posted online was the final conclusion. I guess the only other point apart, it ultimately is irrelevant at the end of the day, but the only other point that was brought up, and which I guess there needs to be a clarification from Mr. McKenzie, is there was a discussion regarding how Willards is split on 50. Is the intent to unite Willards into one district or to keep Willards as is? And I guess Mr. McKenzie can present it both ways, but if the motion's to unite all, then I believe the direction that he's been presented is to split 50 and unite Willards.
I think the motion was just for Hebron and Fruitland.
Well, it was
Well,
for,
I thought
it was
it
for,
was-
Well, I think in the end it was,
Well, that was
unite
the-
all the towns that can be united.
yes.
Under the
Mr.
law.
McKenzie, when you said Fruitland goes south of 50, is that
Right
incorporated
there.
town limits of
almost like a
Willards or
perfect
greater
circle.
Willards?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Limits.
When you said that Willards goes a little bit south of 50, is that the incorporated city limits or town limits
Yes,
of Willards
see this,
or
the blue line is Route
the
50.
greater Willards metropolitan area?
The south part of the metropolitan area of Willards, this blue line is Route 50. This
Yes.
black line is.
Corporate limits.
Corporate limits. So
Okay.
there's 3 people
Okay.
that live on the south of Route 50 in the town of Willards. But, you know, we can do that, I don't know, it's a curved line. I don't know how that'll work out with, if we're following that line with the Board of Elections. We'll find out when we present this to them.
Okay.
But if you want to move that, I can move that area south of 50, it's in Willards, into Willards.
That was the request, unite all the towns. So,
Here I go.
I think that's the sense of the motion. All incorporated towns should be within one district to the extent possible. Correct, Mr. Timerson?
That's correct. Yeah.
And that's legal's interpretation as well.
Okay, that moved 3 people, so it's negligible. So there's your new boundary. And you're still within your deviation for 3 and 5.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, is there anything else we need to discuss on this map then, or we can move ahead, do you think?
Yes.
Is there anything else?
Is there anything else anybody wants to discuss about any of these maps or any of these issues before we adjourn tonight? And,
No, I'm going to go.
okay, then can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We'll see you all next week
Oh, thank you, Bill.
on Wednesday.